Turn it up. Look, 100 years after 100 years, they done lied to us about this and that. Told us all we from Africa. I made fiction characters turn into facts. Heard you tell me then it was not. Knowing goddamn well that trick was capped. My wife and I wrote a book about it. It's a book with knowledge, evidence, and fact. And my other book got them haters shook, cause it's helping my people take a closer look at their backgrounds in the background, showing my people where they supposed to look. Showing my people where they get it from, where they hit it from, all sorts of angles. When it comes to this research, you must please first, don't trust strangers. Find out all on your own is what I highly recommend and suggest. And if you looking for answers and content about me, I highly recommend you the best, which is my website at the link you see just across the screen. Don't let it miss you, I make it simple. I double down on that black and white, it's too official. Oh, see you everyone. You all know I had to talk about this one. This is some major news coming out of California, San Francisco to be exact. The California Reparations Task Force finally put out their final numbers so they could propose it to the California legislation. The committee proposes $5 million to each eligible so-called black person, okay? And you have an ancestor who was enslaved before 1865. That's one of the criteria. There's a couple of criteria. You have to claim that you're African American or black for 10 years. If you already been doing that, that was one of the criteria. And there was another one. A person will have to at least meet up with 2 criteria from the list of 8, which requires a San Francisco connection. They include being born or migrating to the city between 1940 and 1996, attending public schools at the time of the desegregation consent decree, and being displaced by urban renewal between 1954 and 1973. So what they're doing is piling on a whole bunch of them. But of course, you know, you're going to have to follow their criteria in order for you to become eligible for this particular proposal if it does pass. And a lot of people saying that this may pass because they only need about 6 votes out of 11 and 5 are already on board. So this may get passed to California. There are a couple of other places that are already taking a look at this to mirror this particular idea. I know Providence, Rhode Island was one of them. And I know North Carolina is working on another one. But this is the thing that I want to tell you guys, that not only on top of the $5 million, financial benefits will also include a guaranteed income of $97,000 for at least 250 years and paying off all educational and personal debts. That part right there is huge. I'm gonna tell you right now, because from that point forward, you could take that money and start owning whatever you want to own at that particular point. It is about having our own and still building our own infrastructures, and that will be the perfect way to have a fresh start. Now, I said to myself, if it's going to be reparations, I don't want them paying us like how we getting a check just to shut up and that's it. But if you wiping stuff clean and paying off the educational stuff, and like there is an actual benefit outside of just receiving like a stimulus check, for example, that's a big deal, because a lot of people could start moving forward, you know, in a better direction from what you know, where they are right now. I think that will be a good look, and I highly recommend other states should follow suit. But at the same time, keep in mind, this is all done by Democrats, so you got to keep your eye on this and don't, you know, put all your hopes into this thinking that this may go through with every other state and even in California, because keep in mind, this is all political. They're doing these propositions like this in order to garner these so-called colored people or so-called black people's vote. Do not forget that. That is very important. But I said before, I won't turn my nose up to some money, especially if it's going to be some money that's going to help. Of course, everybody 10 years ago claimed that they were black. The problem is that that's what's been holding us up. Now, if this does pass, I still recommend that we start utilizing our own terms. Like, we should not allow people to be calling us black or African Americans when we didn't create those terms. That's why I look at it, those are social constructs. I mean, that was a term created for us. Same thing with Indian, same thing with Native American, for example. Why is it no such thing as European American? This is the stuff that I've been talking about for quite some time. I'm not going to go too far into that because I want to stay on top of this topic here. So yeah, there are some criteria that you have to meet. Oh, and there are, you know, some people out there that do not like this type of thing because they feel as though they're still going to be attached to the government government, and I was taking a look at this, I feel as though this particular route, if they wiping stuff clean like that, and we don't have to go through loops and bounds, yeah, then we could take this money and actually start our own cities, towns, states. We could do what we want to do, and I believe that we should do that in order to make sure that we keep our infrastructure going and not just go downhill, spend the $5 million up in like 1 year and everybody's in debt all over again, because then you're gonna have your hand out again. So it has to be strategically done. I believe everybody should be required to take a business class. That should be a prerequisite, prior to receiving one check, so people can be responsible with their money. Not only that, this should trickle down to become federal, because the federal recognition on this side, in turn, that will be way more money. Now we talking about, if they talking about $5 billion, that's an estimated, $5 million, all total of those California residents. I believe they said, let me quickly try to gather that. In San Francisco, 44,930 people who are of color, according to the 2020 US Census. So 44,930 people that they believe, according to the 2020 US Census, considered themselves Black. So according to the numbers, those residents that would be eligible, the lump sum price tag will be in total for all of those people, the 44,930 will be $225 billion. Now they said San Francisco's 2022 to 2023 budget was $14 billion. So it looks like they're gonna have to continuously pay, and somebody gonna be in debt, because they print the money. Like, there's no way they shouldn't be able to have some money. Like, that will force this thing to go federal. On top of that, like, that's what I would love, because the federal government never admitted to their wrongdoings to our people, but they have with other people. Like, and that's another thing I want people to understand, is the slavery that we were told never existed. The slavery that did exist was employment, and that's what I'm trying to tell you all. Like, you're going to hear the term labor, you're going to hear the term indentured servant, but when you do hear those terms, realize what that means. Indenture is a contract, servant is a laborer, a so-called slave, an employee. As long as you're up under somebody, as far as working for them, you are an employee. You are slaving for that particular company in technical terms, regardless if you like it or not. I'm just being real with you. That's exactly what this was. It wasn't about forced slavery. It was about people had no choice. So in a way it was forced, but they wanted to keep up their livelihoods, right? Just like how we are now. All of us got to work in order to keep things up, right? That's the same way. It did not change. But let me get into that, to the people that are turning their nose up, to our people receiving anything. Oh, well, but we didn't live back then. How they didn't live back then? Why they should receive? Because it's still effects happening right now, systematically, with our people, as far as a lot of mistreatment going on, a lot of injustice going on. It's systematically done. It was done because I've been saying that this government is not for us, because if it was, it would have corrected their wrongs a long time ago. Now, it looks like they have, because prior to the term Native American coming in the 1970s, the term Indian was being used for our people. That was before the term Black. That was before the term colored. The term Indian was being used for our people. And I've been trying to tell people that, and all of those benefits that they were giving to the Indians got converted over to the Native Americans that didn't come until late. They came way later. And, and that's why I was like, look at that, y'all. Look at when they came and look at when that term happened. Like, yeah, a lot of our benefits got moved over to incoming foreigners. So it wasn't, and what they should have said was, oh, my bad. We gave it to them by mistake. Here, let's correct that. But they not trying to admit to nothing, because that's way beyond money. At that point, the Federal Reserve notes came in the 1930s. And we talk about before they started gathering up the lands from our people and saying, okay, well, we'll give you some back. That was called the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934. They started handing those people, the incoming foreigners that are, some of them were Asian, some of them were, they looked like Latino a little bit. And then they slapped the term Native American on them. They were handing them our lands and said, all right, now you're able to have your own U.S. style government and U.S. style government's constitution. and here's a little bit of land for you, and you could claim it's your territory. You know, whatever tradition that you brought over, you know, by way of your movements through the Bering Strait from wherever you're located, Siberia, for example, you could bring it over here and say, hey, it was already here in the United States. That means that you're replacing us as the indigenous people of this landmass before it was even considered the United States of America as a country and a corporation. But yeah, you handed them billions of dollars. So yeah, they're gonna shut up. You gave them land and billions of dollars, not just them. Look at the timeline, 1934. But not just them, keep in mind of this timeline. You did it to the Japanese too, right after Pearl Harbor. And what was that, 41? Right after Pearl Harbor, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Executive Order 9066, gave them billions of dollars and returned their property to them after they were incarcerated in the, man, look, that was World War II, or during World War II. So it was something else I wanted to mention. Who else got their money? Billions of dollars. We look at Ukraine right now. But let's go back. Oh, the European Americans of the Jewish faith. Do you know, yeah, all that stuff happened over there. But do you know, as far as the Jewish people in the Holocaust is concerned, it's considered the Marshall Plan. They handed out to the Europeans now. It was called the European Recovery Plan. So they were ditching out billions of dollars to those people over there. This was enacted in 1948. So if I'm not mistaken, it was over $15-20 billion altogether, and to help them rebuild their country. So, like, I don't want to hear that. Like, everybody got their money. Okay, everybody got some money. Now, keep in mind, look at the time periods of where all of those people, like we talking 1930s, 1940s. Then the 1960s came for the Civil Rights Act. That was the last straw to try to hand Indians, which was the Indian Civil Rights Act, their rights. What we get out of this? We ain't get nothing out of this. What we get? Yeah, are we living better than we were back then? Yeah, but is it equal? No. That's the problem. It's not equal. My rights are different from so-called white folks based off of how this government is set up. Look at how deep it get for our people versus their people. Look at how deep it get when it comes to applying for a loan, a credit loan, trying to get a house. All this stuff is super difficult for us, but these foreigners could come over here and their credit A1, and they don't even carry a social security number. See there? They don't even carry a social security number, and their credit sky high, off the break as soon as they get over here. Like, stuff like that gotta change. Like, if you want us to live amongst y'all, because once our people, honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, once our people realize that they were the original landowners before these foreigners got over here, y'all in trouble. Y'all in trouble. Ain't no coming back from that. So you better hurry up and give everybody $5 million. You better hurry up. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, one of the criteria was for them to figure out, I'm gonna tell you right now, for them to figure out if they have an ancestor before 1865. Now, you know how our people gonna act. They gonna jump with some money on board. You told them how much it was. Now I'm glad that this is happening, because this is, number one, gonna allow them to see the truth about what slavery was all about. And number two, they're gonna find out if their ancestors were slaves. Now, what they gonna be looking for, though, what you need to tell them is what they need to be looking for in order for them to figure out that slavery wasn't the way that we were told. They need to be looking for indentures. They need to be looking for those contracts handwritten by the people that hired their ancestors. How long they worked, how much they got paid. Now, if they got paid little to nothing, you considering it free, but they got paid something, or something was on the table, because trust me, ain't no way in the world somebody was gonna be working for free unless they were doing some internship, and that stuff ain't happening. It was not happening. People had families they had to take care of. Get real. That stuff was not, that's like, come on, y'all. Stop falling for the BS crap from these anonymous writers of American history, feeding us the bull crap, trying to make it seem like these foreigners were above us, and they weren't. Technically, they not now, as long as you pulling the plug to keep them up. I'm gonna keep it professional. If you pull that plug to keep that lights on, they ain't gonna be able to see. You take them batteries out their flashlights before they reach for it, they ain't gonna be able to light up nothing. I'm telling you, as soon as our people research their family members and they find out individually what happened to their family members, it's over for a lot of y'all fools, It's over, especially that's the side of that government. That's why the California governor, Newsom, he trying to get on our good side right now so he could stay in office. That's what this is about. And I'm not even a California resident, but how long y'all willing to wait for these other states to pop up and do something like this? How long y'all willing to wait? And this is what you gonna do. We need to revert back to the Democrats, y'all. Because of a Democrat governor doing this, then everybody should be a Democrat and we all should be. Now that's the handout part that I'm talking about that we don't need. No, we don't need that. I'm talking about if everybody in California get 5 million, now that is enough. I'm gonna tell you that right now. For everybody else, all of us in the United States, take that 5 million from each person, take some of that. Everybody pitch in. We make our own states, cities, towns. We build our own infrastructures out here. Job after job, business after business. That's how it gotta be. Ownership. Because that's what these foreigners came over here and started claiming ownership of things, including our land, and did it right up under our noses. That's what we gotta fix, y'all. Y'all know me when I get on this type of topic. I'm not acting a fool. I'm just get passionate when I talk about the truth because I want our people to wake up. Yeah, this is a good thing. But there ain't nothing get passed yet. If it get passed and it actually happened, wow, that's amazing. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, things still got to get done. Regardless if they start cutting checks to people like that, I'm pretty sure they may have to adjust them numbers a little bit more. But them white folks gonna be nosy like, oh, how they come up with them numbers? And well, how they gonna prove that they were slaves? And they gonna want to know. And I'm not gonna lie, I want to know. I want to know how they got those numbers. I would love to know. That's something I would want to know. But at the same time, yeah, Newsom trying to make some moves. White guy, governor, he trying to make some moves so he can stay in office for a while. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he that old, so he trying to stay up in there for however long he can. Garner everybody voting. He know he need our people's vote out there. And the whole time they making the least amount of money compared to everybody else that live out there. So some things got to change, right? So it's up to y'all. I remember some people used to say, well, I don't like this person, I don't like that person, but that's why you eat the meat and spit out the bone. In this sense, you got to do the exact same thing, but you got to be real with yourself, number one. You got to know for a fact that this could be. I'm not saying that it may not happen, but this could be one of those political tactics to get your hopes up just to garner your vote. Okay? So do not put all of your, oh my God, in it. Yes, this about to happen. Don't do that. And then your feelings get hurt. Because this happens to our people all the time. People have been studying reparations ever since that conversation was brought up for our people. Now, it is about us speaking up. That's one thing, but it's also about us stepping up to do something for us. Now, if you want to have some say-so in this government, fine. I don't see that working because once again, the federal government is not admitting to their wrongdoing. They got to do that first. Everything else will follow suit from that point forward. I feel as though people need to understand that California's sticking their neck out there because slavery didn't even happen out there. You know what I mean? Think about that. They weren't involved at all. So who are they doing it for? The people that think it's old. All over the United States, they hoping that this will trickle down like a domino effect, okay? Now, as long as we ain't tied back to the government like how they try to do the Indians, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, you can have your own this and own that, but we run it. We don't need all that. We need to have our own this or own that, and we run it. You understand what I'm saying? Not no, oh, they overseeing. Nah, that's slavery all over again. Slave masters was overseers, managers, general managers, regional manager, floor manager, staff manager. We don't need an overseer. We know what we need to do. Let's do it. I'm just here to make you think.